Hey, friends. So, the hype train has yet another passenger. This time it is Disclosure Day. I have heard a lot about this movie. It's revolutionary. It's the best movie of the summer, the best one Spielberg has released in the last 20 years. Now, I am here to temper expectations just a little bit. Best movie of the summer, I don't think it's the best movie of the last 3 weeks. But one of the best Spielberg has released in the last 2 decades? Now we're on to something. Now, just starting off jump, Steven Spielberg is probably in my top 3 or 4 directors of all time, along with David Fincher, Chris Nolan, and Ryan Coogler. I don't think he's made a film that I've just like outright hated, but a lot of the movies he's made in modern times, especially, have been, kind of lukewarm to me. Now, his last movie that I liked, and hold on, wait, let me put a disclaimer here. I have not actually seen his West Side Story. But I have seen some of the dance numbers that were choreographed there and the way they were shot. I am certain I would actually love that movie, but I just haven't seen it yet. So, of the movies I have seen, the last one of his I remember really liking was Ready Player One back in 2018. But the last movie of his that I absolutely loved, we'd have to go back to Minority Report in the early 2000s. That is until now, because Disclosure Day, I love you. Now, of course, it's not perfect. There are some flaws that I'm going to get into in a little bit. But what it does very well. And Emily Blunt, yo, the woman's range does not exist. Like, there's no limit to what she can do. Musicals, sci fi, action, drama, comedy. I mean, she was a scene stealer in Oppenheimer, and she was in it for maybe what, 10 minutes? And I am here to confirm that her role in this movie is the best thing I think I've seen her in as a leading lady. This and Mary Poppins. I didn't really like the movie, but she was awesome in that, y'all. But we're going to get to the glazing in a little bit. Let's talk about what this movie's actually about and what I didn't like first. So, Disclosure Day. I'm going to talk about what the trailers talked about because it's going to be kind of hard to get into detail without spoilers, and this is going to be a non-spoiler review. But basically, we have this guy, Daniel, played by Josh O'Connor, who stole government secrets that proves aliens are real. Like he has tangible proof of extraterrestrial life, and he is working with another group led by Coleman Domingo's character Hugo to release all of these files to the public so that the world knows. Hence, Disclosure Day. But Colin Firth, who plays a character named Scanlon, he is a G-man a government agent, although he's not really an agent because he's kind of off the books. But anyway, he works for a secret government agency who is determined to stop this disclosure from happening. Emily Blunt plays a weather woman from Kansas City, and how and why she gets involved gets a little bit spoilery, so I'm going to try to limit that, but just know that she does become involved in helping Daniel, Josh O'Connor's character, try to accomplish his goal of this disclosure. Okay, so we're going to start with what I didn't like, and this movie's pacing is not the best. Now, here's the thing. Every actor they're A-list actors, so obviously they all do a phenomenal job, every single one of them. But Emily Blunt's performance stands kind of head and shoulders above everybody else's, to be honest. And when we meet her, she's not actually in the action. She's away from it, right? And she is a quirky, quippy, fast-paced talking kind of person, so the movie keeps up with her personality. And when she's on scene, everything is interesting, it's funny, it's moving. And then it cuts back to, our people, Daniel and Hugo, in the game of cat and mouse they're playing with Colin Firth's Scanlon. And that kind of slows down a lot. This is mainly in the first act where I had this issue because, they would kind of keep changing perspectives. So when we would drop out of what's going on with Emily Blunt, we would drop into what's going on with Josh O'Connor's Daniel and his whole disclosure ordeal. And that in Act 1, it really slowed down before it picked back up. So that shift in pace, I'm going to call it, it's very noticeable. Also, the narrative, like what's actually happening, the story that they're telling here, it's a little it's not bad, but it's nothing like unique or revolutionary or anything that made me go, oh my gosh. Like the trailers made me think it would be. If you've seen Spielberg's other movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you're going to be very familiar with the story beats that are happening here. And then outside of that, the only issue I really have with this film is there is some video game level like stuff going on here. I'm specifically speaking of like the stealth and the escape mechanisms that Daniel and his companions use to escape the G-men when they're chasing him. For example, there are like 50 cops that close in on like this farmhouse he's hiding out at, right? While he happens to be out in the fields, in the cornfields, like taking a phone call, I believe is what he was doing. That's not the point. Point is there are like 50 of them. They surround it, right? And he is, if they're let me do it. If they are so the farmhouse is here, the cops are right here. They're like walking towards the farmhouse, right? But like I said, he is out here in the cornfield, so he's behind the cops. This man walks by. It's broad daylight, and he's just walking behind them, sneaking behind a fence that isn't like covered or anything. It's like a fence you can see through. He's sneaking and crouching. He gets behind a car like this is a game of Hitman or something like that. Gets behind a car, then he runs and ducks behind another car. And there are so many officers there. You're like, does nobody actually like hear the leaves rustling? Does nobody have peripheral vision to see this dude that you're chasing literally right here? And the fact that he got as far as he did, got in a car and was able to escape, it was honestly ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at the guy I was with during the press screening, and we both like had to look like, yeah, that was some BS. I know that's more of a nitpick, but I just had to say it. So what I liked, like I said, we're going to start with Emily Blunt. Her performance was out of this world. She's worth the price of admission alone, honestly. She is a lightning bolt. I think I may have said that in this movie. When she appears on screen, because she comes on like 10 minutes into the movie after the opening scene when all the players on, the disclosed versus not disclosed side are introduced, right? She comes on screen and she immediately takes over the scene. She has this blend of what I'm going to call like comedic seriousness, where when she speaks, you laugh because of her timing and what she's saying and how quirky she is in what she's saying. And yes, she is the comedic relief. Her and her boyfriend, played by Wyatt Russell, deliver most of the laughs you're going to get in this movie. But she's not really the funny character, if that makes sense. She is funny, but that's not her only role in this movie, because she's involved in one of like the best action sequences in this movie, or high stakes, I'll say that, one of the high stakes sequences in this movie involving a runaway train. And she gives like some of the more heartfelt moments in this movie, like the ones that are, going to be tear jerking you. Like she gives those performances. So she's very versatile in this movie, I guess is what the main point I'm trying to get to. And it really worked. A lot of actors can't handle that, but she definitely does. Speaking of, all the Spielberg isms here really work for me. Like the way he frames a scene. Like there are very few directors where I'm like in awe at like the visuals that I'm looking, like the visual techniques I'm looking at, Spielberg just has this special, it's kind of hard to explain, but he has this way I've always seen where he frames scenes so that you see what you need to see. And I know that sounds like obvious, like duh. But what I'm saying is like, he doesn't just like put the character in the center of the frame so that that's all you're seeing. Like he'll put a character over to the side and maybe their computers in the center, and then there's empty space above them because he wants to make sure that you see everything that you need to see because of what's about to happen. And the way the dialogue works in this movie, where there's like dramatic music playing in between words, kind of like another movie he directed, Indiana Jones. Indy, when he's talking to bad guys, he'll say something, then it'll be a da-da-da, and then the bad guy will talk back, and then it'll be another thing, and there's like background music running during the dialogue. That happens here. And the soundtrack, oh my gosh, another plus. Thank you, John Williams. Thank you for doing what you love. Both of you, Spielberg and John Williams, thank you for doing what you love. Because that dude, John Williams, is in his 90s, and he gave us a stellar soundtrack here. I loved it. All the sounds in the movie were great. And here's the thing. I was like, nodding my head along, and I was thinking, wow, I really like this. And then when his name popped up at the end of at the credits, I was like, oh my gosh, that was him. And there's someone else in the theater was like, oh, dude, you couldn't tell? She's like, I knew right away, right when the dialogue was going on. So I was like, so we obviously caught on to the same thing. And yeah, man, the set pieces, the production, the actors' performances, they were all great. I think after Emily Blunt, I really liked Colin Firth because he is the antagonist, but I love what the movie does here because they kind of force you to think about whether or not what he's doing is actually wrong. He has it set in his mind that, yo, you can't disclose this information because if you do, the world will turn in on itself. And I should mention the climate in this world, in this movie, is very similar to the climate we have here. Prices out of control. People are just stealing to survive. There's a war going on. Nobody wants to listen to one another. We all just want to scream our own opinions or whatever. So their world is like on the brink of destruction. And this news, like if you knew this news that could upend the world, just change the way we think about science and philosophy. Oh my gosh, and religion, which is a big thing in here. Would you trust us humans with that information? Would you? I'm not sure. So I like that the movie kind of presented you with the one side of course, people deserve to know the truth. Let's disclose. And then the other side of, well, wait a minute. What happens if we do disclose? Have you thought about the consequences? And I got to be honest, when the non disclosed arguments came up, a lot of times, I was kind of nodding my head. I was nodding my head a lot more than I thought I would. So, in that respect, the movie's narrative is actually pretty interesting. It's going to make you think. And I actually didn't even record this review right after the press screening because I knew I had so much to think about. But overall, yeah, the movie's good, man. Like, you don't have to worry. If you're a fan of Spielberg, if you're a fan of film in general, I think if you go to the theaters and watch this, you will not feel like you have wasted your time or money. Emily Blunt leads a stellar cast, and even though the story is a bit familiar, treads some similar territory, like I mentioned with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and the ending is a little bit anticlimactic, in my opinion. I think the journey along is worth it, has some great set pieces along the way. And I think that the questions that the movie kind of puts in front of you are interesting enough. And, maybe you and your friends will have some discussion about it afterwards. So, yeah, I'm going to give Disclosure Day a 4.1 out of 5. Those are my thoughts, y'all. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you for clicking on this video. And until next time, I'm out.